Hi there, this is Billy Tarasio with the Modern Divorce Podcast. And today I am so excited to be joined by Annette Sellers of House of Refuge. This is kind of a different podcast episode because we're going to be talking about resources for victims of domestic violence, resources in the community for people facing homelessness. So it's a hyper local and very, very resource intensive episode. Annette, thank you so much for joining me today.
Wonderful, Billy. Thank you for having me. I'm glad to be here.
Yes, thank you. So we were just chatting for a few minutes before we started the episode, and I think I'm actually going to push this live as well, because why not? So talk to me about your background and how you got involved with the House of Refuge.
Wonderful. Sure. So I just spent the last 12 years of my career at the Gilbert Chamber of Commerce. I have always been involved in a fundraising or sales and marketing mechanism for my career. And prior to the Chamber of Commerce, I did a lot of fundraising work for organizations that needed dollars to either host football camps. I've done several football camps for professional football players. I was part of the original fundraising team for the fight night that takes place in Phoenix. I did a lot with Phoenix Zoo type organizations, those type of folks that just really need some assistance in doing some fundraising. So with that, working at the Chamber of Commerce, I was working with an organization that has a lot of corporate value to it. I worked with a lot of companies in the Gilbert area. I got to know a lot of people in the immediate and outside area as well. But it was an opportunity for me to maybe look at how I could marry my corporate world with the folks out in the community that might have a bigger, higher purpose from a mission standpoint and come full circle back to my fundraising roots. So when this position was posted, House of Refuge was always involved in the Gilbert Chamber of Commerce. I knew of it well. I knew of the opportunities, the needs, what their volunteer positions were like. But when I saw them post a Chief Development Officer position as a single mom raising three of my own children who are now adults, I really could just resonate with the moms that are probably living here facing those homeless situations or domestic violence victims. And what opportunity could I bring together to take my corporate world and really marry it with something like House of Refuge to serve a better, bigger cause? A big mission.
Absolutely. Yeah. So you were a single mom. You are a single mom, is that right?
I am, correct.
And so I can imagine that facing that was not easy.
Do you know, it was not easy. However, I have to say, you find a way. Women are pretty resilient, and I won't speak just about women, but I don't know about men. I haven't had that interaction from that standpoint on a single dad. But when you are working to protect and raise your children, you always find a way, whether it's a second job, whether it's an offering from someone who can help you make things a little bit better, whether it's a handout sometimes, because I have this little gnat, I'm so sorry, because sometimes it's those things that you need that just give you that hand up and allow you to raise your kids with the things that they need to grow up. It's real important for us here at House of Refuge to provide our residents with dignity and hope, an opportunity for them to partner with folks in our community that could provide them the resources to turn their lives around. So as a single mom, it spoke to me. I was blessed. I was not in the situation they were whereby I was homeless or, and I certainly was not a victim of domestic violence, but I do understand the power of community. And I have besties and family that you turn to regularly for that hand up. And so House of Refuge was certainly an avenue that I could see. I could take a bigger cause with a little bit of known experience of my own and really help maybe transition some lives for some people. And so I left the chamber after 12 years and came here to the House of Refuge, and I'm thrilled to have joined their team.
I can't tell you how many people I have spoken to who have lost custody because they didn't have stable housing. And so there's a number of ways that I, as a family law attorney, see this being so impactful. First of all, you've got situations with domestic violence where children may end up where they can't be with either parent because one parent's abusive and one parent's homeless. And then, or you may end up in a situation where children are living in their car with their non-abusive parent. And it's just a pretty heartbreaking situation. And it can also lead kids to end up in the system in foster care or group homes. So how do families come to you when they need housing?
You bet. So many of our families find us online or through other agencies that we partner with. If there is one thing nonprofits do, it is form coalitions to know who each other are, what they do, and what resources we could all be to one another. So many are sent to us by resources. When I first came, there was a young lady who joined us, Billy, from House of Hope down in Tucson. And it was her pastor that reached out to House of Refuge. She was coming here to the Valley and needed housing, and she had just finished her program. I was fortunate to be able to do her intake with her through the case manager as well. And one of the most amazing things, she was so excited. She had a little baby. She, just was very excited for the entire day and signed all of her paperwork. And it impressed upon me when she said, we walked to her home and she said, will you do me a favor? She handed me her phone and she said, will you just take a picture of me when I get the keys to my house? And oh my goodness, it's a home for her. Yeah. It's a home for her and her baby. She found us through her pastor. Her sponsor brought her. There's miracles like that happening every day on property. Her little baby turned 1 in July. I remember the date. I'll never forget the date because she told me her baby's birthday, and I'll never forget the date. And it's an opportunity, obviously, for us to really put people on the right track. So they could find us online. We are not a shelter. We are definitely transitional housing.
Okay.
We are a 1-year program. Our residents can stay with us for up to 1 year. However, they do have to qualify to be here. Our requirements are purposeful and intentional. So they must be the adult of at least one minor child. So we have all families here. Our average family, though, looks like 1 adult and 3 children, which is why we have about 150 kids and 100 adults. But they must be the caring adult or the custody adult of 1 minor child. They do have to work while they are here. This is a work program. They do have to show that they are working. They have to provide pay stubs. If we need to help them with skill sets or help them find another job where they come to us without a job. It's not easy to get a job, Billy, when you don't have a home address.
Right.
Many people will tell you that. So they might come here without a job, but we'll help them get a job. They do have to work. They do have to pay their rent. And I mentioned it is a reduced rent that they pay, and they do share in utilities. It's drug-free, alcohol-free campus. So they are drug tested to come into House of Refuge. They can be randomly tested at any point in time, and every home does a monthly walkthrough with their case manager for the safety of the children and the purpose of obviously keeping with our rules as well. We have other things like curfew. We have a 10 o'clock curfew for outside visitors. They must leave the property by 10 p.m. So again, we're not for everybody. But we are for those folks who really want to transition, find the core root to what got them to where they are, and maybe take a year to work on themselves, provide their children a stable community and environment, get a hand up on what's going on in their life, and then transition out into something a little bit more stable.
Okay, so you said you're not a domestic violence shelter. Can you define for me, what's a domestic violence shelter?
Sure. So there are shelters that just take domestic violence victims. I'll give you a prime example. I received a text just today, a few hours ago. A friend in need. I have someone who needs your services right away, verbally being abused. What can you do to help? I don't know that I could do a lot to help. I'll be very honest. We have a wait list, and the eviction moratorium ended, escalated our wait list. We are a process. You have to complete an application. You go through an interview process. You have to do your UA. pass your UA. You have to be verified. Background checks are done. We have 150 children living on property.
Yeah.
So it could take 2 to 3 weeks
Okay.
to get you a house here at House of Refuge.
Okay.
So domestic violence shelters are immediate intake.
Okay. Okay. Great. And tell me about the houses.
Yeah, so we are the former Williams Air Force Base out at Phoenix Mesa Gateway Airport. So we are located near Power in Williamsfield. 25 years ago, this Air Force Base was decommissioned by the federal government. The gentleman who founded House of Refuge applied for housing here, and we received 88 homes on about 21 acres, along with the church for which I'm housed in. So he did found House of Refuge on faith-based principles. However, and we are a faith-based organization, but we are non-denominational. We do not practice religion on property, and we do not require our residents to practice religion, but we have a faith-based mission. Those 88 homes are about 1,000 square feet. They are former officer and pilot housing. They all look the same. They have 2 bedrooms, 1 bath, and they have a shared carport between 2 houses with storage units. So they all look the same, but they're adorable. It's a cute community.
Yeah, I actually lived in military housing for a summer with my former husband, who was an officer. They're nice houses. I mean, they're way better than dorm rooms. They're like way better than college dorm rooms. And I guess for me, that's what I was kind of comparing it to at the time. But like, I mean, yeah, that's legitimately solid housing. You get to make that into a home. You've got a yard, right?
Absolutely. We have community center for the children. So we transitioned 6 houses into what we call our wraparound services.
Okay.
One of the houses is full-time maintenance, and we have a staff for full-time maintenance. We have 88 homes to care for.
Yeah.
We have a community center for the children. So the children can come and do their homework after school, have a snack, play together in community, maybe do some curriculum surrounding STEM or other opportunities. We have folks like the Arizona Coyotes who sponsor us heavily that come and do water days at our community center for our kids, or send them off on field trips, or bring street hockey in. But the community center is adjacent to our largest playground and basketball court. So the kids do have a climbing structure and a playground with swings and a basketball court to play on. And then we have 2 facilities that are family service facilities. One houses our case managers, and it is our intake and planning stages for our residents. The other side is our employment and education center, where our classes are held during the months, where career clothing closet is located. So if someone does come off the streets, for example, from a homeless situation, they might not have the proper clothing for interviews or jobs, or it's a domestic violence victim who has to go to work tomorrow, but he or she is left with what they came out of their home with. So that is housed in there as well. There is internet and Wi-Fi in both the community center and the employment and education center. The rest of our houses, Billy, it's not often that those who are homeless can work internet into their budget. So we have that internet available for them should they need to search online for jobs, complete resumes, children need to turn in school homework or projects, those types of things. The other 2 houses were conjoined to be our donation center. So we take donations 6 days a week at House of Refuge. Anybody who wants to clean out a closet with clothing or bedding, household items, anything that comes out of your home. We have a very short list of things we do not take, but the donation center operates 6 days a week. So we can really allow our residents to make their house a home with pictures and, and it could be an iron, it could be a blender, it could be dishes, those types of things. So 6 of those houses are transitioned into our wraparound services. And so that helps the community obviously get the needs that they have. Inside of our donation center, we also have a small pantry and a clothing boutique for kids. So our residents can shop for home, they can shop for clothing, they can shop for small pantry items, fresh produce, milk, eggs, cheese, those types of things.
Nice. So are those free to the residents or are they just
And they are.
reduced? They're free.
Yeah, they are.
Fantastic.
So
Okay. And you mentioned that they pay rent. What's the rent?
you bet. The rent is $350 a month and they contribute $50 to utilities. So they pay $400 a month to stay with us. Again, allowing them to utilize that budget to really make a difference for themselves in the 1 year that they're staying here. We have a program, it's called Adopt a Home. And in 2016, 5 years ago, the federal government swept all funding for transitional housing. So we went from 75% funded 5 years ago to zero. Zero. We have a $3.2 million budget, and we turn around January 1st of every year and raise that $3.2 million budget.
Wow.
So a program was brought into play when that housing was originally dropped, that funding, and it's called Adopt a Home. And we have 51 of our 88 homes adopted out by foundations, corporations, family trusts, endowments, legacy giving, corporate entities here within inside of our community, municipalities, City of Mesa, Town of Gilbert, adopt homes here, professional team players like the Coyotes. Arizona Coyotes have 3 adopt-a homes here. We have a few Arizona Cardinals who have adopt-a homes here as well, but they pay $15,000 a year to adopt that home. It covers the maintenance, the transitional offerings within inside of our residents' homes, and it covers all of the wraparound services of that house as well. So I said we have about 51 of those adopted out. They help buy down our budget. Everything else is typically grants. We do about 90 to 100 grants a year. I do a lot of corporate outreach for that new big buzzword since COVID, corporate social responsibility dollars. The CSR dollars are in abundance right now because companies are receiving funding, municipality is receiving funding, and those dollars are given back out into the communities. So we have a lot of folks we work with. Their employees donate to their foundations within inside of their organizations, such as PayPal, and then the employees get to decide where those funds are directed. And we did receive a $20,000 grant from PayPal, for which we were so grateful for last month.
That's fantastic. Okay, so there have to be far more people who need housing than the 88 houses you have available, you know, a little less because of anyway. So how do you select who gets a house?
You bet. So there is an application process on our website, and applicants go and they apply. And they're taken in the order for which they come in. However, their first point of contact is with our chief programs officer, and she does an interview with them, an assessment interview looking at, are they working? Are they able to work? Can they pass they have to be alcohol-free, drug-free. Can they pass a UA? Are they sole custody of minor child? So there's a lot that goes involved in that interview process. And then once they pass through that interview process, they do go through a background check and a UA, and they have to be able to pass both of those as well. Background check because of the sheer number of children. And of course, we don't choose to have felons on property, just part of our mission. But it does give us an opportunity, obviously, to better select the people that are suited for our programming. Once they pass through those opportunities as well, they go on to a wait list. Our wait list is lengthy with the eviction moratorium on the eviction process ending. We probably will see an increase in that. However, because we are not immediate, Billy, we turn maybe 6 to 9 homes a year, 6 to 9 homes a month, because we are a 1-year service. It's not a lot. 6 to 9 new residents get in a month.
Yeah.
And then obviously the rest of them go back to the wait list for the next month. But
Sure.
they are taken in order for which all of their items are complete.
Okay. Talk to me about the donation center. Where is that and how do people donate?
Yeah, so the donation center is right on property in the community. Our website is houseofrefuge.org, and that you can click right on the donation center map. But we again are located near Williamsfield and Power. We are open Monday through Saturday, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 4:30, Saturday, 10 a.m. until 2 p.m. We just re-engaged our pickup service. We stopped doing the pickup service during COVID, but have now re-engaged the pickup service. So we do offer pickup. However, it is not a free pickup. The company who does the pickup needs to pay wages and workers' comp and insurance and all of that type of stuff. But for a nominal fee, they will pick up. But for the most part, our list of items we do not take are very small. We don't take beds. Ashley Home Store provides every child under the age of 16 with a free bed. So we turn in their names and birth dates, and we get free beds for all of our children. We write grants for the beds for our adults. So we get full-size beds bought with grants. Isogenics right now currently holds the grant offering for us to buy our kitchen tables. So every family that moves in gets their beds, they get their kitchen tables, they get a large welcome basket from donations throughout the communities. And it includes their dishes, pots and pans, silverware, bakeware, linens for their bathroom, shower curtain liners, shower hooks, bedding for their beds. All of that is included with their move-in, cribs for babies if they have an infant. And everything they collect on property and or from the donation center for the entire year that they live here, they take with them to start their new home.
Really cool. You know, this is not the topic for today, but there is one person that I know that had a divorce shower. She moved out, she had absolutely nothing. She called her family and friends, they rallied around her and they showered her with gifts. And I just thought that was so wonderful because, you know, you often see baby showers for third, fourth, fifth kids, you know, or wedding showers for people who maybe are 30 and have lived together, and like, they don't really necessarily need a shower, but divorce is so taboo that people don't really come out and support one another that way. And I just think that what you're doing is fantastic. It's a great program. I have loved learning about it. One more time for that website.
You bet. houseofrefuge.org.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show today. I really appreciate it and really appreciate getting to know you.
You as well, Billy. Thank you for allowing us to feature our program. We're greatly appreciative of that. Thank you. Have a great day.